Coming in hot, it's elections week here in Stillwater, Oklahoma. My name is Santiago Solano, and I'll be taking you through the state questions and election results as they're happening live, folks, so don't miss a beat. What's this? I'm receiving word that we have results on state question 793. We'll send you down to Doo-Won Kim, who has all the info.
50.2% for yes and 49.8% for no. Just about 6,000 votes made a difference. Of many state questions that needs to vote, optometrists were waiting for a major change that could have impacted their business. State question 793 is referring to a constitutional amendment which enlarged optometric service to big chains such as Walmart. According to Yes on 793.com, supporters insist this state question would not only take unnecessary restrictions out of current law, but also be able to create jobs. As the result remain an impact, a student at Oklahoma State University says about how the result made her disappointed.
Just because I didn't see the harm in it as much as other people. I always believe that people who can't afford small businesses or special doctors or private doctors will always go to those people. And the people who can't didn't have any other options, and I just thought that would give them a new option, but that's not happening anymore.
According to No793.com, the main reason the opponent insists is the optometry should be practiced in medical setting rather than big chain.
In addition, they insist opening to big chain would cause a problem of cheap eye care. OAOP Chief Executive Officer Joel Robinson says importance of qualified optometric service.
You go see them and they treat you as a patient. You're there to get medical care, and that's what they provide you. When you go into a Walmart, you're not a patient, you're a customer.
Due to this midterm election, Oklahoma remains their optometric service like other 4 states, and 47 states still provide optometric service in the big chain. Even if 50% disagreed with enlarging the business, still, it's important for us to pay attention to remaining 49%. For Pete's Corner, this is Doo-Won Kim.
Thanks, Doo-Won. Starting off to a strong 1-0 start for no. Now, what's this? I'm hearing we have results on state question 801. We'll send you down to Crystal Mota, who has the inside scoop.
With elections happening this week, many people get discouraged from voting, whether it's because they don't care or maybe because they are intimidated by the state questions presented on the ballots. Here's a glimpse of one of the 5 state questions that will be on Oklahoma's ballots this year. What is state question 801? This state question would allow schools to use their building budget towards what this school sees as a necessity, which would also include maintenance, repair operations, upkeep, and construction of district facilities and grounds. Keep in mind that if this were to pass, it could burden education quality, but could also help lower income schools by creating higher teacher salaries. There are many pros and cons to the state question, and Stillwater Superintendent Mark Moore has the details on those.
You know, the pros is it does allow school districts flexibility in how they spend funds. So that way, you know, so it's going to impact schools differently because different schools have different levels of funding in the building fund. But it does allow some flexibility. Probably the con is that it does not provide any new funding for public education. It's essentially the same amount of tax dollars that have gone into it in the past.
Education has been something that Oklahoma's been trying to improve, and many in the state of Oklahoma have mixed feelings about state question 801 and how it could impact schools across the state. Linda Robbins has more on why she believes State Question 801 could have been beneficial to schools all around Oklahoma.
I voted yes on 801 because I felt like it would restrict schools less. Because I know personally, I didn't go to public school, but I saw the effects of very restricted education funding on Claremore Public Schools. They spent so much money on new buildings, new stadiums, that they couldn't even afford library books. So I felt like 801 could give schools the possibility to actually buy resources that they need for their students rather than just the actual infrastructure of the school.
With the election ending this past Tuesday, the state of Oklahoma voted no to State Question 801. After a close fight, 50.4% voted no, while 49.6% voted yes. While many voters and educators are happy about this not passing, you can expect it to show up again, but with a different format in the next election in 4 years. For Pete's Corner, I'm Crystal Moda.
Thanks, Crystal. That sure was a close one, but I guess Oklahomans voted no on 801. Now, moving on to, what's this? Yes, folks, we have our first yes. Marcy's Law has passed. State Question 794 has passed. Our first yes. We'll send it down to Dylan Ford, who has all the info.
State Question 794, or Marcy's Law, gives crime victims more rights in the justice process. Specifically, it would become a state constitutional right for individuals directly affected by a crime to be treated fairly, to confer with the prosecution, and to attend key court proceedings. On November 6th, Oklahoma voted on this measure, and 78% voted in favor of Marcy's Law. It was the only state question approved by voters during Oklahoma's general elections. All versions of Marcy's Law make it a constitutional right for crime victims and those harmed to be notified when the accused or convicted are released from jail or prison. Kelly Vierling has been a huge advocate for Marcy's Law in Oklahoma ever since her son was shot and killed in 2014. She says she was stripped of her rights and traumatized by the criminal justice system. She felt it was time for victims and their families to reassert their place in the justice system.
The person who shot and killed my child, it took an entire month for them to put the case together and arrest her. However, I had no idea she was arrested until after she was arrested and bonded out. I had no idea charges had been filed. That shouldn't happen. We deserve knowledge, and we deserve that knowledge in order to make educated decisions for ourselves.
With voters in multiple states supporting Marcy's Law, it seems like a pretty straightforward topic, but be wary. Just like with any other policy change or amendment, problems will arise. Some states that have already amended their constitutions to include Marcy's Law have started to see some of these problems, such as lack of funding for this new policy.
Ryan Murphy graduated from Oklahoma State University with a degree in political science. He now attends law school at Arizona State University and says he's concerned voters checked yes on the ballot without much thought.
I did not vote in Oklahoma state election this year because I no longer reside there and feel like I do not identify with the voting population there. However, if I were to have voted in Oklahoma's election this year, I probably would have voted against State Question 794. This is because State Question 794 was implemented through a constitutional amendment, and in order to change any potential problems with Marcy's Law in the future, the only way to do so will be through another constitutional amendment, and this is quite difficult to do in today's politics.
So, what does this look like for Oklahomans? The state initiative specifically states that victims' rights shall be protected in a manner no less vigorous than the rights given to the accused. Its intent is to give victims more of a voice. For Pete's Corner, I'm Dylan Ford.
Whoa, that was a landslide victory for yes. Thanks, Dylan, for the report. Now we'll see how Marcy's Law is implemented in the next few months. Now, we'll be taking a short break, but stick around. We'll be covering the governor's race between Kevin Stitt and Drew Edmondson live, so don't miss it, folks. Stay tuned.
I want to show you something. This is the money we could save by switching from fresh packed California crushed tomatoes to concentrated tomato paste.
I want to show you something too. I got a new door. Go take a look at it.
Nobody uses better ingredients than Little Caesars. Like fresh packed California crushed tomatoes. Pick up a large, deep dish for just $8.
Pizza.
Introducing Lincoln Black Label at Diffie Ford Lincoln. Designed to impress those with impeccable taste, Lincoln Black Label features a collection of interior themes and a host of exclusive membership privileges inspired by attention to detail and a love of automobiles. With Lincoln Black Label, you'll enjoy an extended premium maintenance plan that covers wear items or even remote vehicle delivery. Lincoln Black Label isn't about luxury ownership, it's about membership. Lincoln Black Label, exclusively at Diffie Ford Lincoln.
At ASAP Energy, our goal is to provide the best customer service for whatever our clients need.
My relationship with ASAP Energy came about in 2007. I was wanting to build a convenience store. I didn't know how to do it. I'd never been in the business. I just felt comfortable with Rick. And so I knew that I wanted to do business with a guy like that. Integrity, loyalty, and family. I would recommend that to anybody. Thanks for taking a chance on me.
At ASAP Energy, everything matters.
Where were you born? It's a question asked all the time. Because where you're from shapes who you are, inspires how you do things. And when that inspiration comes from a place this refreshing, this majestic, this... well, you get the idea. Coors Light, born in the Rockies.
Back, folks, we have our own Kirsten White at the Kevin Stitt watch party. She's live on the floor. She's got all the inside. Send it to her. Let's go.
The race for governor in the state of Oklahoma came to an end, and the voters have spoken. They chose Kevin Stitt to lead the state. I visited the watch party to give you a closer look at the 28th governor of Oklahoma and his plan for our state's future.
Ladies and gentlemen, a new dawn is starting. To be gifted this opportunity to serve our state as Oklahoma's turnaround starts right here, right now.
By the end of the night, Stitt finished with 54% of the vote. Despite the loss, Edmondson said he still feels hopeful about Oklahoma's future.
I'm comforted by my renewed faith in the decency of our fellow man. Hope lives infinitely in you.
Stitt touted himself as a political outsider throughout his campaign, but now he is an insider. And he will be sworn into office January 14th of 2019. The night after the election, Stitt emphasized his plans to prioritize government efficiency.
You know, we don't have any transparency. There's no accountability. There's no really good budget process and what we're used to in the private sector. We've got to get accountability right.
Typically during a non-presidential election, we usually see a lower voter turnout rate. However, this year we actually saw a 32% increase in our overall voter turnout rate. According to the New York Times, this jump could be a reflection of America's current political environment.
So I think the biggest factor is probably like a polarization right now, like amongst Americans. A lot of people don't feel heard.
Younger voices wanted to be heard this midterm. Exit polls showed a spike in younger voters. This year, voters aged 18 to 29 will make up 13% of the overall electorate. For Pete's Corner, this is Kirsten White.
Oh, we're back. Thanks, Kirsten. We're back now. Thanks, Kirsten. Now, Stitt will be sworn into office January 2019. Now, on the other side, we'll take it to Hallie Barn, who sat down with Drew Edmondson to talk about his campaign and his plans for the future for Oklahoma.
Tuesday marked the midterm elections for governor in the state of Oklahoma. Because of budget cuts and the 9-day teacher strike earlier this year, a simple midterm election in a vastly Republican state was complicated by these bigger issues. Drew Edmondson was the Democratic candidate for the election. As the state's former attorney general, he hoped to change this red state blue. As far as what he had planned for the state, Edmondson wanted to fix schools by increasing teacher pay, reducing class sizes, and putting more money back into the classroom, fix the state's government by closing tax loopholes and cracking down on the lobbying industry, not imposing tax increases on Oklahoma families, and finally, putting health care first by approving the Medicaid expansion. Edmondson hopes the people of Oklahoma look to find people to fix the problems that were created.
Well, I hope they gain an appreciation of the problems facing the state and the fact that there are solutions out there, whether you're talking about education or health or prison overcrowding. You know, all of those problems that we face are man-made problems. And if they're man-made problems, then there can be man-made solutions. And we need to look for them and make sure they're implemented if we want our children and our grandchildren to have a bright future in this state.
Win or lose, Drew Edmondson said that he hopes the state of Oklahoma makes steps toward reform rather than backward. Despite Drew's loss, his competitor, Kevin Stitt, acknowledged how he wants to make a difference in the state.
And I'm just concerned with how the state's going. We had a negative 3% growth last year. I have about 155 offices across the nation. And when I travel to other states, I see tremendous momentum all around Oklahoma. I get so frustrated when I come back here and I see, you know, $1 billion budget deficit, and I see all the issues, and then I see who's running, and to me it just looks like more of the same, just kind of the career politicians. I want to take off from my company and go serve my state and focus on the next generation.
Since the Sooner State remains its usual red, Edmondson says he's going to use this time to take a nap. For Pete's Corner, I'm Hallie Barham.
Thanks, Hallie, for the report, but you know, that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Can't do anything about it. Now, we'll be taking a short break here, but when we come back, stick around. We've got a lot of fun. We'll be revisiting State Question 788, and we'll find a fun incentive for you to get up off your butt and go vote next year. Let's go.
The Deli Department at Homeland is Oklahoma's headquarters for party trays. Enjoy the time with family and friends at your next event, and let your neighborhood Homeland create the perfect fruit, deli, or cheese tray for you. The party planners at Homeland will help you choose the perfect party food, sized just right for your guests. Call us, stop in, or order online, and we'll make it ready for pickup on your schedule. Make your next party special with a party tray from your neighborhood Homeland.
Good to be home, Homeland.
Love these things. Hilarious. I'm sorry. Force of habit.
As long as you are you, it's Miller time.
Hi, it's Sam at Louis Grill and Bar, here to introduce our new menu items from south of the border. Come try our new poblano chicken tacos, or the ever-popular sriracha shrimp tacos. At Louis, where you come for the food, but stay for the fun.
It's hard to imagine my life before her, or a day without her. So much of what I take for granted simply wouldn't exist. She is the force that holds our life together. She is my everything, the center of my universe, from Forevermark. The diamond, the promise. Available at Lewis Jewelers.
I'm Randy Heights with 1077 The Franchise, and let me tell you about the HCG diet from New Leaf Wellness and what it's meant to me. Over the last year, I've dropped 90 pounds, and this has been a lifesaver, guys. I'm in a wheelchair, so I can't always get to the gym, and what's been incredible about this diet, when I can't work out, I still lose the weight. 90 pounds in a year is a lot for anyone, but for me, it's been a miracle. Why don't you give New Leaf Wellness Centers a call and see if they can't help you with a free consultation, or go online at newleafcenters.com.
Welcome back, folks. Now, we'll be revisiting State Question 788 from last year's ballot. Our own Casey Gann has the inside scoop on how it has progressed over the last 6 months.
Oklahoma passed State Question 788 on June 26th.
State Question 788 is the proposal to legalize medical marijuana. In the 6 months since the bill passed, Oklahoma has seen many changes and has no intentions of slowing down.
I feel like with more growers getting products off the shelves, there being very many processors and dispensaries, I see within the next year Oklahoma will look completely different with the cannabis industry.
Stillwater now has 5 different CBD shops that offer many different types of products to suit customers' needs.
I mean, there's everything from stuff you can drink, there's coffee, there's smokable flower that is hemp flower or marijuana. You've also got concentrates, things like wax, live resin, shatter, crumble, things like that for both CBD and THC products.
During the preliminary elections, a high number of voters came out in support of State Question 788. This state question had a lot of heat surrounding it, but ultimately has been beneficial for most.
I use CBD a lot for insomnia and for anxiety, and I use it mostly instead of various medications because I think it works better and it doesn't have the side effects that those medications do.
Big changes in Oklahoma, like State Question 788, would not be possible without voters exercising their right to vote.
It's easy to get a little apathetic and think that your vote doesn't matter, but this is something that has impacted me personally and so many other people I know personally, and it's something that got passed because of everyday people like you and me who got out and knocked on doors and educated people about this issue and really made this happen.
Voting in any capacity is important. Your voice, your vote. For Pete's Corner, I'm Cassie Gann.
The voter turnout for 788 was shockingly high for Oklahoma. Thanks, Cassie, for the update on medical marijuana in Oklahoma. Now, moving on to millennial elections. Millennial elections. Francisco Ochoa has it for you. He has it all, baby. Where to vote, how to vote, get in it.
In this year's midterm elections, voting is the most important way to make your voice be heard on issues that concern you. This year's midterms were reported to be the most important election in our lifetime about the issues that face us. In previous years, young voters usually have a low voter turnout on election days and sometimes disregard the importance of voting. However, according to an ABC exit poll, voter ages 18 to 29 will make up 13% of the overall electorate in this year's midterms, an 11% increase since 2014. Senior political science major Kendra Robbins says it's important for millennials like herself to vote in this year's midterms, as the issues facing our state and country are extremely important.
It's important to vote because it's essential to a functional democracy. It's our civic duty. And if you want an opinion on how the government's working, if you're an eligible voter, you need to vote so you can have a say in what's going on.
With early voting already passed, more than 3.3 million millennial voters casted their ballots early at the national level, according to ABC. In Oklahoma, young voters decided the outcome of state questions and elected federal and local officials, including the Republican Governor Kevin Stitt. Senior psychology pre-med major Allison Van Horn understands the importance of voting in elections and is passionate about the political issues that our state faces.
I believe that it's important to vote at the state level because there's so many issues facing our state today, and it's been run by people who are incompetent for the last 8 years, 10 years, and change needs to happen. There's issues of prison reform, mental health care, looking at the school systems and how we are so far behind the other states on all of those issues. And I think it's going to be coming up to the newer generations of voters coming in and stepping up and saying, this isn't okay. We need to vote for issues and not party.
With the outcome of the millennial vote, millennials had an impact nationally and at the state level. Oklahoma decided on state questions such as Marcy's Law, which passed above 70%, and Oklahoma's 5th Congressional District elected Democrat Kendra Horn with 50.7% of the vote, who unseated Republican Steve Russell with 49.3% of the vote. Voting can make a difference even by the slightest margins, as we saw here in Oklahoma and nationwide. That's why your vote matters in every election, and it's crucial during tight, important races. For Pete's Corner, I'm Francisco Ochoa.
Thanks, Francisco. If you're currently unregistered to vote, no worries. You can just go on turbovote.org and get registered. Do it for next elections. Don't sit on your butt like I told you. Now, moving on to a more fun and relaxing story. How about, I went out to vote? Oh, I get a discount. Our own Kira Bruce has the insight on Tulsa stores who give discounts for people who voted.
Voting Day offers many opportunities to change the state and country, but you may be surprised to find Voting Day offers plenty of discounts for voters. Stores all around the country offer discounts if you showed them your I voted sticker. One of these stores is Witty Books in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where co-owner Victoria Moore thinks the voter incentive discount can get people excited about voting.
It just seemed like the right thing to do, gives people a little bit more encouragement, even though I think they have plenty already without any extra incentives to vote. It's just become so increasingly important to vote and really make your voice heard.
Victoria thinks the voting sticker has become a trendy item during these midterms.
It's totally become like a status symbol, and like amongst the people I know, at least, I feel like it's weirder if you don't go vote, which is so different than it used to be in local elections, at least, or in midterms or outside of the presidential election.
But Witty Books isn't the only place offering a voter incentive discount in Tulsa.
Now that we got our discounted books, let's go over to Mod Mess in the Box Yard and get a discounted outfit. Do you think this looks good with my I voted sticker?
Mod Mess is a Tulsa boutique that offers 20% off a purchase to people who show their I voted sticker. Owner Carly Johnson decided to use the discount as a way to get her customers involved in and excited about democracy.
I was thinking about how important it was for myself to vote, and with that I thought, how can I kind of get my customers involved?
And get her customers involved she did. Every customer Carly had on voting day had their I voted sticker.
For a while there, it was unheard of for people to vote. Myself, it's never been that way. I've always, when I turned 18, one of the first thing I did was register to vote. But I'm really glad that it's becoming more popular.
So if you need a little extra push to the polls, think of the discount. For Pete's Corner, I'm Kira Bruce.
Thanks, Kira. I'll be sure to remember those discounts for next elections. Now we've reached the end of our show, and I appreciate you sitting with us through these hard live news. For this week's edition of Pete's Corner, Elections Edition, thank you, and hope to see you next week. This is news, people. You're missing out.